Hey guys, happy Thursday. So, listen, we're rolling up those sleeves today and we're going to bust this out. Here's the good news. This may just be our last essay for the whole year. So, if we can just keep that in mind, we can do anything. All right. Plus, remember, you did all the hard work yesterday with creating your organizer. So, yay, you. You're well on your way. So let's talk about today where we're going to draft. And I feel like some of you did this yesterday. I think you thought you had to do the organizer and the draft yesterday. So some of you might even be a little bit ahead of the game um, because today we're going to talk about your draft. Now, we're not going to do like a final copy. So, really, your draft is kind of like your final copy. I'm not expecting it to be perfect. I just want to see if you have all the pieces and parts in it that it needs to have to be a successful argument. So, this draft copy is going to be the last copy that we do of it. All right. Like I said, final push. Okay. So, today we're going to do an argument essay. It's going to be 5 paragraphs when we're done. You've already planned them out, so you've already done the hard work. Now we just have to write it. Okay. So, yesterday you made your claim, and your claim was either, yep, organic foods are awesome, or nope, organic foods are not awesome. Um, and then you planned out on that organizer or that outline all of the different things that you wanted to say. So, you worked on filling out your thesis. And then we worked on the key ideas. Then we worked on the counterclaim. And then I let you guys go back and start filling in the rest of the introduction, the evidence, and the conclusion. So let's talk about how to put all of that together. And if you haven't done that part yet, you're going to need to go do that first and then come back and finish the video. So let's talk about your introduction. Your introduction needs to include a hook, background info, and your thesis statement. Now, our thesis statements we did in class yesterday, so we should have a pretty solid thesis statement that we don't need to change or do anything with. It's already ready to go. But depending on how far you got with your hook and your background information, I have some suggestions over here. However, Mr. Snyder and I disagree on one of them, so I'm going to get rid of it right now. Do you see why? He used the word I. No. Bye-bye. Okay. So, back to this. If you want to introduce an argument, so this would be what you could use for this part that says background information. Now, do you have to use one of these? Absolutely not. But I had a lot of questions about how you would write a statement to show background information. So remember yesterday I said you kind of want to be like good lawyers, right? You want to kind of make it sound a little bit more dramatic than it even needs to be so that people really buy into this argument. So you could say, many people believe that, and then you would need to fill in your statement there, either that organic foods are great or organic foods are not. But the truth of the matter is, and then you would state your theory there, okay? Or you could say like organic foods versus conventional foods is a highly debated topic because some people think that organic foods are great. However, others argue that organic foods are not worth the money, okay? Or you could say there is a disagreement about the benefits of organic food. The actual quotations that should be debated are, okay? So these are just some ways that you can do that background information part that kind of introduce what the argument is. And then remember, your hook is just like it could be a question, it could be a quote, it could be like, have you ever wondered why some food in the grocery store is so much more expensive than others? You could start with something like that. Okay. So that's how you would do your introduction. We already have our thesis. I showed you how to write the background information. You can choose one of these. I would choose one of the first two. I'm not sure I love this one at the bottom, but one of these two would be a great choice for background info. And then your hook is just a question or quote or something like that. Okay. Now, the 3 body paragraphs. So, if you recall, we did our key ideas yesterday. And then we actually did, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. We actually did this whole counterclaim paragraph together. So, paragraph 4, which is body paragraph 3, that's really confusing, isn't it? Let's do this. I don't want to confuse you. I really was prepared, but sometimes you notice things as you get started talking, and it's like, you know what? They're going to be super confused if I don't fix this right now. So I'm going to fix it. Okay, there we go. Now I think this will make more sense to you because it'll match up with our outline. All right, so for body paragraph 1, we have our key idea, remember, and then we're going to do evidence explain, evidence explain. And then for body paragraph 2, same thing, your key idea, evidence explain, evidence explain. This should all be pretty much done from yesterday because we wrote our key ideas together. And then your evidence is stuff you already probably highlighted the first time when you annotated the article, right? That was your evidence, expert quotes and numbers and stats. That's your evidence. So body paragraph 3 is the one that we call the counterclaim, which you'll see right here in yellow, counterclaim. Now, if you were in class yesterday, we wrote this together. We wrote the counterclaim together. So the counterclaim is where you explain what the other side thinks. You explain what your quote unquote enemy thinks is true. So this would be something like, there are some people that believe that organic foods are terrible. They think that they're overpriced. They think that there's not that much difference between organic foods and conventional foods. And they think that they're not a threat to the environment. However, studies have shown that organic foods actually are better for you. So basically, what you've done is you've given your counterclaim, which is telling what the other side thinks. And then you've answered it when you've said, like, however, studies have shown that organic foods actually are good for you. Okay. So remember, like we talked about yesterday in class, your counterclaim is usually going to be a smaller paragraph than the other ones because it's usually like 3 sentences ish. Now, can it be more? Absolutely. But it's usually around 3 to 4 sentences tops to state your counterclaim because all you're doing is explaining what do the other people think, and I'm going to answer it back, right? And I'm going to say, like, no, you're wrong. Here's why. Okay? Don't ask me why Mr. Snyder put the Hulk on here. I have no idea. All right. Finally, we have the conclusion. So when you wrap it up, remember, you're going to summarize your reasons or restate your thesis and then close it with a closing thought. So you're going to rephrase your claim. So if your claim was that, organic foods are not worth the cost, then you would write something like, in conclusion, it's clear that organic foods are not worth the extra cost. Okay. And then some of you were asking how to wrap it up. Well, here are some suggestions on how to wrap it up for your creative closing thought, right? So you could explain why this topic should be important for your reader. You could explain an alternative, which means you could explain what people could be doing differently and why, kind of like you're offering a solution to the problem. Or you could end by linking this. Oh my gosh. Mr. Snyder has lost his mind. Okay. It said tissue if you didn't see that. Okay. So you could also end it by linking it to an issue like your own personal experience. So this is the one time in an argument in the closing where you're allowed to use the word I, as in the hook or the final closing sentence, because that's okay to share a personal example or thought there. So those would just be some suggestions on how you could conclude it to get a really strong conclusion. Okay. So you're going to rephrase your claim, which is your thesis statement. Okay. If you're confused by that, I'll even put that here. Rephrase claim / thesis statement. Okay. Then maybe try and choose one of these. Or if you already had your own idea, that's absolutely fine. But for those of you that were emailing me saying, I don't know how to do a conclusion, this would be a great way to phrase your final sentence or two to get this part B done of the outline. Okay? All right. Just think, if you get this done today, you're done writing essays, except for the air test, but that doesn't count. We're done writing essays. Yee. Okay. Don't forget about First Chapter Friday as well. And please, I'm more than happy to look over your essays. Just let me know. Email me, come to office hours, whatever. I will be happy to look it over and give you feedback if that would help you out. All right, guys. I hope you have a great day and come see me with questions, please. And thank you.